can, you can. It's up to you.
That's fine. I can do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And for those of you who are just being pulled in, Judge Baker is having connection problems. So she restarted her computer. So hopefully she'll be on here in just a few minutes.
Rachel, could you put me with Farden? He's my client, so I could speak to him in a breakout room while we're waiting.
Yes, and we have an interpreter. Did you want him in there as well?
That'd be
Yes,
fine.
this is Adam Kemisi. I'm the interpreter.
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
that'd be great.
Okay, and it looks like the parents are together. So does Miss Grant want to go in as well?
That would probably be a good idea.
Okay,
If Ms.
yeah,
Grant
let me
wants
get.
to.
I'm sure she would. I'll just go ahead and put her in there, and she can
Okay.
make that decision.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so we've got.
So just to give y'all a heads up, if we go, I'm just going to do this chronologically. So I'll put Corporal Adams on first, followed by is it pronounced Bouvier?
Bouvier.
Bouvier. And so I guess I had it right yesterday when we talked.
Yeah.
And then followed by Ms. O'Neill and then Ms. Valenzuela. So we'll just kind of play it by ear after they get out of the breakout room. But at this point, I'm assuming it's contested, but unless I hear otherwise.
Miss Katie,
Yes, ma'am.
would you mind to go into that breakout room with them and just remind them what time it is and that we're gonna need to get moving?
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, Judge, they said they're wrapping it up.
Thank you very much. Okay, I've closed the breakout rooms so that we can get started. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all, but we had an hour allotted, so I need to know where we're at and if we're ready to go.
Judge, I think we're just going to have a hearing. I think Ms. Grant and I, we met with our clients, and I think we're just going to need to have a hearing and move that direction.
Okay, all right then. At this time, I will call cause number 1 in the interest. This is the Department of Family and Protective Services versus Fatima Yekta and Farden Scory. All right. I've got an interpreter present today.
Yes, this is Adam Kemisi. I'm gonna help you with this, interpreter today.
All right, Mr. Kamisi, have you ever used the interpretation feature on Zoom?
This is the second time I do it.
Okay, have you ever used the interpretation feature where you can simultaneously interpret?
Yes, I said I have not a lot of experience, but this is the second time.
Okay, would you prefer to use the interpretation feature?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, then I will get that started. Then the parents will have to check their language, which will be set up. It'll say Spanish. It's not Spanish, obviously, but we don't have the ability to say Farsi. So I will start you as the interpreter. It's not letting me start it. Okay, we're going to have to abandon that. Okay, Mr. Kamisi, you're going to have to just interpret as we go. I'll ask everybody to try to keep their responses and questions to 1, maybe 2 sentences.
Yes, please.
And
Thank
then
you.
pause and give you a chance to interpret, okay?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, we are here today on a request for court-ordered services. Present today is Eugene Groff for the department. Stacy Grant is present for the mother, Fatima Yekta.
Yes. Yes, I am here.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'm waiting for the interpreter to just interpret what I say.
Stacy,
Mr. Barfield is present representing the father, Farden Sakori, and he is present.
thanks.
Stacy Zavala is present on behalf of the children.
Thanks.
Okay. Mr. Groff, who is your first witness today?
That would be Corporal Adams, Your Honor.
All right. Before we start then, Mr. Kamisi, if you'll raise your right hand and let me swear you in real quickly. All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, Ms. Zavala, you have a question?
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
I am asking that we go off of YouTube today based on some things that are going to be discussed, and I think that's in the children's best interest.
We would join in that request, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Barfield, any objection?
No.
Ms. Grant, any objection?
Oh, Your Honor.
All right, then motions have been made and there's been no objection. Court is aware of what the allegations are in the case, and so I think it is in the best interest of both children to close the courtroom to protect their confidentiality and privacy.
Hey, Judge or Rachel, I am back from my breakout room. I was in breakout room number 3 with my client, Stephen Havens. I'm not sure he knows how to get back here, so if y'all could pull him back in.
Yeah.
And then
I'll move him.
Thank you so much, Judge.
Judge, I'm looking for Bryza Salinas.
And Daniel, Brisa's out sick today, so I'm covering.
Okay, thank you.
Judge, I sent the order to appear to the Brown County Jail. I'm not sure if Mr. Havens is on or not.
Well, I don't. The only person in the waiting room that I'm not sure who it is Pamela Pierce.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Anybody recognize that?
I don't, Your Honor.
Let me admit her and see who. We're here for a status hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming, and Ms. Goodman's making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Michaela Kurtzy is filling in for Bryza Salinas today as my pregnancy specialist and will be testifying for me.
Brooks Barfield, attorney for Ms. Havens. We do not have contact with our client presently at this time, nor do I believe to St. Francis, my last understanding.
Vince Nowak, on behalf of the father, Stephen Havens, and as I noted earlier, Judge, we did send your order for him to appear today. He's not here, but I am, and I'm ready, Judge. Thank you.
Casey Zabala on behalf of Avery.
Okay, I've just had someone named Heidi Elliott log in.
She's the worker on the Meeks case, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Okay, then. What do we have new since the court report was filed?
Good morning, Your Honor. So Avery's doing great in placement, really. She's placed with her paternal grandparents. We have the home study returned back on them. We just have a couple of follow-up tasks we need to do. I'm thinking maybe next week we'll have it sent to the court and approved. She started equine and individual counseling with Dirk Milam. One of the things that we did want to mention is that as previously mentioned in the court hearing, she's getting virtual phone calls with dad supervised by placement. They've been going all right. I think at this point, my worker has been supervising, and we're speaking to Dirk Milam about continuing and how he feels like she's doing with them, and if he feels like it would be appropriate for those to continue whenever he gets transferred over to prison. So I think as far as Avery goes, that's pretty much all of the updates I have for her. Oh, one other thing. She's attending first grade. She's doing well. She's on target with school, but she did miss a lot of school and she's showing some defiance according to her teacher. So that's something that we're monitoring closely and just kind of taking day by day to see if any additional services are going to be needed to help her on an educational basis. We do have an update on mom, Catherine Havens. She was arrested. I have on my records showing February 28th, and she's in Potter County Jail. My worker has been able to go and visit with her. She's signed a copy of her family plan. She's willing to work services and kind of taken ownership for reason of removal and the path that she was going down. So she's willing to work services whenever she gets released. And we have sent a parenting packet to Stephen Havens in Brown County Jail, and we are waiting for him to return it. From the conversation that my worker has had with him over the phone, he does sound like he's willing to participate in services and work with the department.
Mr. Barfield?
Your Honor, I really have nothing to report. we have not been in contact with this client now for a while, so I don't have anything to report. We don't have a good number for her evidently. We used to, so that's where I'm at.
I was looking back, she didn't appear for the adversary hearing.
No, ma'am. And she is not responding to any communication from our office whatsoever.
Yeah. She didn't appear at either setting on the adversary hearing, so. Okay. Okay, Mr. Nowak.
No questions, just happy to hear that the visits with dad and the child are going well. And as always, Michaela, thanks for always taking my phone calls. Judge, that's all I have.
Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, I have no questions. Avery's doing well with grandparents. I agree with the report. She's struggling a little bit at school, but I'm really excited about the equine therapy. That seems to be a great fit for her, and feel like with grandparents is exactly where she needs to be.
And Judge, if I may ask Michaela real quick a question.
Yeah, sure.
Michaela, does Bryza have in her notes anywhere that she notified Mr. Barfield and then where his client was?
She doesn't have it in her notes on any of the stuff that I have.
Okay. If we find our parents in jail, need to let their attorneys know that they are in jail. Brooke, she's still in Potter County, so you should be able to get her there. And Judge, the family plans were filed on March 10th. Mom did sign hers on March 10th. And those have been filed with court.
Okay, but she is in Potter County Jail now.
She is. I'm looking at the jail roster right now. She is still in Potter County. She has a possession, a criminal trespass, and a burg of a hab charge pending.
Okay.
Or excuse me, possession of burg. The other was refused. The criminal trespass was refused.
So possession,
Control of substance, and a burg of a hab.
okay. Then I'll find there's a continuing danger to return the child home at this time. I'm going to order the service plans as an order of the court. We'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator and continue the child's current placement. And our next hearing will be on July 22nd of 2025. That'll be on a 9 o'clock docket.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Judge. This is my only case with this court today. Permission to leave the courtroom.
Oh, I really think you should have to hang out with us all day long because it's going to be an all day long.
Judge Graham had me until late in the afternoon on Friday, so I'm going to give y'all both a break this afternoon.
All right. Now you have a great day. Thank you.
Yep, y'all as well. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Barfield, are you at your device?
I'm here, Judge.
Okay. We're here today on our initial permanency hearing. We're conducting this by Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are also live streaming, and Ms. Galvan's making our record this morning. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present and ready. Your Honor, I'm looking for Tucker Ivy.
Okay, I'll bring him in.
And we are present ready.
Brooks Barfield for Catherine Havens. I do not see her name present. I do believe we have notes in my file that she was released from Potter County Jail and is now MIA.
Okay, she's not in my waiting room either.
Okay.
Vince Nowak on behalf of Stephen Havens, and we're both present and ready, Judge.
Okay.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Avery.
All right, thank you. All right, then, Mr. Ivy, I think you're it today. So if you want to give us an update.
Yes, ma'am. Avery is doing really good with her grandparents. We are moving forward and getting them licensed. So if adoption is a possibility, we can do that quickly. The only thing with Avery is she's had a little trouble making friends at the current school she's at, so she's getting moved to. She's wanting her grandparents are wanting to move her to the school in Canyon. But that's really the only update I have for her. For Tyler, he got moved to the formerly unit in Plainview, and his projected release date is November 17th, 2026. And for Catherine, I made a handful of calls yesterday, and her mother didn't know where she was at. Renee had heard from her because she had called her from a random number, and I called that random number. And then they told me that the last time they saw Catherine was a couple days ago. The probation officer said that sometime last week she was hospitalized for overdosing on fentanyl. But then I got a text this morning from Renee Havens, the grandparent taking care of Avery. And she said she finally, some guy that Katie was staying with texted her and said she finally got herself admitted to Synacor and got her checked in last Friday evening. I haven't had time to confirm this. I got this text literally this morning. But the guy that she was staying with told Renee that she's checked into a rehab Friday evening. And that she seemed in good spirits about going. But I still haven't heard from Catherine myself either. And
You think this is at Synacor?
yes, ma'am.
Judge, if I may, on her plea, she was required to go to, is it CTR, I think? But it's a treatment center that's done through probation, a program they're supposed to do. My understanding, she didn't go in the filings on her criminal case. There is a motion to proceed that has been filed due to not going to that. Is my understanding from looking at the motion to proceed. I don't know if that's the rehab she's gone to or if it is Synacor, if she did check into it, but I know she was specifically under her probation supposed to go to this other one.
And the probation officer told me he activated warrants for her. I don't know exactly how that works, if she can still go to the rehab if she has active warrants. But he did tell me that he had active warrants for her when I talked to him yesterday.
May I ask who the probation officer is, just so we may be able to contact him from our office?
Yes, sir. It's Jacob Williams. But that's all I have.
Okay. Tell me again, what was Mr. Havens' release date?
November 17th of 2026.
All right, and child is with maternal grandparents?
It's Mr. Havens.
Paternal.
Paternal.
Paternal, okay. All right, thank you. All right then, Mr. Barfield, anything to add today?
I think based on the circumstances, no, ma'am.
Okay. Well, at least you've got a window within which to search now.
Based on my experience, I think we will find my client probably in jail at some point.
All right, Mr. Nowak, anything else to add?
Just real quick, and Tucker, thanks for taking my phone call yesterday. It's nice to be working with you. You understand that you call him Tyler, I call him Steven. Does he prefer which does he prefer to your knowledge?
Tyler. At least that's what his mother told me. That they go by their middle names, Renee and Tyler.
Gotcha. And you understand that he's a non-offending parent?
Yes, sir.
Have you talked to him on the phone?
I haven't had the chance to. When I called the facility, they said the only way I could contact him was through phone, and I have to send an email with a letter of approval and my information on it, and then they'll set up the call.
Gotcha. But to your understanding, sir, he is being cooperative with the department, correct?
Yes, sir. And he said he said he's willing to work services as soon as he gets out. I don't know if he was able to keep the family plan of service we gave him, but I also don't know how long this case can be extended for.
Gotcha. And that was my next question. What can you get to him to allow him to work services while he's incarcerated, if anything?
His family plan, if they let me send it to him, I can get it to him. And if he can do any services while he's in there, that works, like his parenting classes or anything like that, or the counseling, but I don't know if they offer any of those services.
Okay, Liz, if you send me an email, Tucker, I promise you I'll work with you to see what we can't get done to have him work services while he's incarcerated. And one last issue. I understand that Tyler is having phone calls with Avery.
He is? I didn't know he was even having the phone calls with Avery.
I was going to ask you if they're going well. I will tell you, sir, that they are going extremely well.
Okay.
Tucker, if you reach out to me after this hearing, let's you and I work together, and let's see what we can't get Tyler Havens working while he's incarcerated.
Yes, sir.
Tucker, thank you so much, Judge. I'll pass the witness.
And
Questions, Mr. Novak? Is he having these phone calls via the grandparents? Obviously.
I'm not sure, but we can maybe ask him. I call him Steven, but I guess I'm going to start calling him Tyler. Tyler, can you unmute and answer the judge's question, please?
Yeah, I'm present, and yeah, I call my family every night, and I'll make sure I tell Avery hi, and I love her, and ask how she's doing. So it's kind of brief with her attention span, but yeah, I get to at least speak with her.
Okay.
I know I love her.
And Judge, I have in my notes from the last hearing.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Are your parents on the phone call when you're speaking with her?
Yes, of course.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's what I needed to know. All right, Mr. Novak.
I just didn't want to upset the apple cart. But I have from my notes from the last hearing that these phone calls have been happening, and they've been going well. But Judge, that's all I have.
And Judge, I will say at one of the last hearings, this was requested since the child is placed with paternal grandparents. The court did approve as long as they were appropriate and grandmother was supervising those calls, then those would be okay.
Right, and I think I put some other stipulations, just that there wouldn't be any discussion about the case.
Correct.
Or anything like that. Okay, all right. Okay. All right, so as long as we're working under those parameters, I'm fine with it to continue. Okay. Ms. Zavala?
Your Honor, Avery is doing really well. I got to visit with her on Saturday. The change of school is kind of twofold. Although it's Canyon ISD, it's not a Canyon's. It's in Amarillo, and it's right down the street from where grandparents live. And Avery is very likely going to repeat the first grade, and I think that's probably the best decision for her at this point. She did miss a lot of school last year, and the friends that she did make, they're all moving on to second grade. And so this change of school gives her a fresh start. She's just walking in as a first grader, like every other first grader. I think it's going to be a great move for her. She's talking a lot more. She seems very comfortable with grandparents. And I do think that school change will be a good one for her. And I've got no concerns about placement continuing at this time.
All right. If she repeats the first grade, I mean, do we have any hope of any hope of getting her back on grade level with her age?
I would definitely hope so, but I think she really needs some basics under her first. She's very smart girl. I have no concerns that once she really gets into the rhythm that she will do great. And so maybe after this first first year bases underneath her, looking at some sort of path to getting her back onto age level. But she tried to do summer school this summer and it did not go well at all. And it really feels like she needs that base first and the confidence and but before we look at trying to fast forward her. But I do know your concerns in terms of, it's very clear that once they get behind, it's hard to get people graduated once they're behind.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody with St. Francis have any heartache as far as the change of school?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
No, Judge.
Okay.
Uh,
I think that makes sense, and I think it's probably a good move. So
Yes, ma'am. And Your Honor, the only additional request we would have is drug screens for mom, if we're able to find her and locate her. If she is in rehab and is drug screened, that's fine, but if she's not in there, once we find her, if we could get hair follicle and UAs.
okay, no problem.
I'm going to try to contact Mr. Williams and see if he knows where she is, and if I can locate her, I'll send an email out.
Thanks, Brooks.
All right, then today, well, let me just ask Mr. Havens, since we've got you on the phone, any questions that you've got today?
I'm sorry, do you mind repeating that? I was having to unmute and the voice prompt kind of overruled you.
Okay, no problem. No, I just want to know if you had any questions about what you can do as far as your services or any other questions today.
I guess any services I can do, I'm more than willing to do. And I just need, probably whoever it is within the CPS department to contact, the TDCJ unit on that and have them set that up and get me enrolled. It's a little difficult to figure out information here.
Have you looked into as far as what might be available to you? Have you asked anybody?
I sent a request in, but I have not received that back. Like I said, it's really difficult to get information here. There's an education application on our tablets, which, there's a parenting while incarcerated class on there I've been taking, but I'm not sure that's what y'all are looking for exactly.
Okay. I know that Mr. Nowak can send you attorney mail, so
Right.
he could send you a copy of your family plan of service. I know without maybe some of the additional red tape that the department has to go through. What we'd be looking for would be general parenting classes for a child, the age of Avery. Lots of parenting classes differentiate between, age groups, obviously. But I would think you would be looking at something that would be, ages, 7 to 10, kind of that kind of range. And I just don't know what all might be available to you. So you might start inquiring on that on your end of things, and then Mr. Ivy, who is assigned to your case, will continue to assist in that and make sure you know at least what's required, and so will your attorney.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay. All right, then I'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I'll continue placement. I'm going to find a continuing danger to return the child home at this time. I will order Ms. Havens to drug test once we locate her. That will be hair and UA. And obviously, we expect the department to continue to use reasonable efforts. to reunify the family. And our next hearing date will be November 18th of 2025. And that will be on a 9 o'clock docket. So you can arrange to, or Mr. Novak can arrange to have you brought in again for that hearing if you'd like.
Yeah, I very much would.
All right. Okay, then I'll see everybody back in November. Everybody be mindful of some of the recent changes in the law that will be effective September 1st. Obviously, this case will not be concluded prior to that date. And so there are some key pieces of legislation that will affect some of what we do in this case. Okay. All right, then I'll see y'all back in November on this.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Judge, this is my last hearing with this court today, and I chipped a crown last night and I tested positive for COVID. With the court's permission, I'm going to leave and go to bed. Thank you, Judge.
Hope you feel
Appreciate
better.
it. Thank you so much. And Tyler, I'll be in touch.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're here today set for a review hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming, and Ms. Boyd is making our record today. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Tucker Ivy is a permanency specialist. We're present ready, Your Honor.
And Brooks Barfield, I represent Mother Catherine Havens. We have lost contact with Miss Havens again. And so any information that we could be given would be greatly appreciated. I'm present and ready to proceed.
Judge Vince Nowak on behalf of Stephen Havens. He will not be present today, but I spoke to him this morning. I am ready to proceed.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Avery.
Thank you. Mr. Ivy, if you will unmute for me and raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth today.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, then. What's the update since the court report was filed?
Avery's doing very well. She's grandparents are closer to getting licensed. They said they're going to try and knock it out within the next month. As I called the parole officer for Catherine Havens, the mom, and they said that they haven't been able to find her either, and they put a warrant out for her. I haven't been able to find her, and I've had no, St. Francis has no contact from her. Dad's, I mean, he's still going to be in jail. It's projected to 2027. And so, I mean, everything in this case is pretty straightforward with dad in jail, mom out of contact, and then grandparents are getting licensed. And Avery's doing really well. Since she moved to her new school, she's a lot more outgoing. She used to only say like a handful of words to me, but now she's hugging me. She's saying full sentences. She's made friends at school. She's doing much better since her switch from school.
Did you say parole or probation?
Probation, I believe.
I think he said parole, but he was meaning probation, Your Honor.
Okay, it is probation, so it's not a blue warrant, but okay.
No, ma'am. Mom pled on 2 cases to, I believe, 8 years deferred. She was supposed to be held in Potter County till she got a bed at the treatment center that she was court ordered to go to. They released her the next day. She's never returned back to jail and is MIA. There's been a warrant out, looks like since middle of July for her, and that she hasn't been found on that. Also on dad, I believe Mr. Ivy stated he was set to be in jail till 2027. That's his max sentence date. His projected release date and parole eligibility is November 17th of 2026.
Okay. All right, and placement is willing to be long-term, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Abbott, just so I remember, placement is dad's mom. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir. It's
paternal-
dad's mom and dad's dad.
Okay.
And they say they still they call when they're able to. Last time I talked to him, they said they haven't been able to talk to him for a little bit, but whenever they get the chance, they call and talk to dad. So they're still on good terms with dad.
Okay.
Right, Mr. Barfield, I think you've already said you haven't had contact, but anything else to report? Doesn't
I
sound like-
have, no, ma'am, I have nothing else to report today.
Okay, Mr. Nowak.
Briefly, Judge, and thank you so much. Tucker, it's always good to see you, and thank you always for your timely and comprehensive updates. I spoke to Stephen this morning, Tucker, and he tells me he's talking to Avery just about every other day. Does that comport with your understanding?
Well, last time I talked to grandmother, she told me that she hasn't been able to get a hold of him, but I'm fine with them talking.
Okay. Would you agree with me that those conversations are in Avery's best interest?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Stephen told me that he had recently completed a parenting class. Did he get that certificate to you?
No, sir.
Okay. He's also told me that he's on a waiting list for some other services, and that's a good thing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you agree with me, Tucker, that that Stephen is in compliance to the best he possibly can be given his current circumstances?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Judge, that's all I have. Tucker, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Nowak, next time you talk to him, tell him to be sure he needs to get those certificates as he gets them, either to you or to Mr. Ivy, if it's a postage issue or something like that, hopefully his parents can help him out.
I'll make sure that happens, Judge. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, Avery continues to do well in her placement. I know there was some concern about holding her back, but I really feel like that has been the best decision for her because she was held back and changed schools. As Tucker said, she seems to be thriving in the new school. She's made friends. She's more outgoing. She's speaking more. So I think that was a really good decision, and she seems to be doing very well. So I do recommend that continue her placement there.
Okay. All right, well, we are coming up on our final in January 29th of 2026 on a 9:00 docket. I guess, Mr. Nowak, I don't know whether y'all need mediation. Mom's absent, Mr. Barfield can't really agree to much of anything, but I don't know where Dad stands, on all of this and for, permanency for the child. And I mean, whether or not I understand he may be released at some point and, he may be involved with the child. I don't know. As long as he's safe and appropriate, grandparents will probably permit that. But, is the big question is obviously, is he willing to relinquish so grandparents can adopt, or where do we stand on all that?
I haven't had that conversation with him yet, Judge. And in this case, I get the fact that my guy's incarcerated, but I still consider him the non-offending parent for the removal here. And just for the court's background, he was 9 years into a 10-year probation when he gave a positive UA. Which got him his current sentence. He's doing everything he possibly can. I will explain to him the financial reasons for why relinquishment might work. And I'm also mindful of the fact that the child is placed with his parents. And I do expect him to get out in November of next year. But I'll have that conversation with him, Judge.
Okay. I mean, it's like I said, if he gets out and he's doing well and he's appropriate and all, they'd probably let him play a major role in the child's life, you know. But
Sure.
but we got to look at to permanency. You know, you can explain to him.
Understood.
That's what my mission has to be. So.
And Judge, that was a conversation I was going to have Mr. Nowak also on this to see what was.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, that can look like different things, but it still can be permanency for the child. So.
Sure.
All right, then today I'm going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator and continue current placement. I find there would be a continuing danger or impossibility to return the child to either parent at this time.
Just always thinking forward, Judge. Is there any way you can make a finding that Stephen is in partial compliance?
Yeah, I am going to find that he is in partial compliance. I mean, he's visiting with the child to the extent that he can. He's trying to do what he can do. I mean, that's fine with me. Mother is not.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, then I'll see everybody back January 29th. I'm not going to send y'all to mediation. I mean, I think if there's something that can be worked out, it's going to be with Mr. Novak and his client, and I think he'll attempt to do what he can do about that. And, you know, without mediation, and since Mr. Barfield doesn't have a client at this point, if she surfaces and you all feel like you want mediation, just obviously let Ms. Katie know and we'll get it done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I am going to go ahead and dock it that I'm waiving that just to help me remember down the road. I'll just say I'm going to waive it unless you all request it at a later date. But it can't be too much of a later date because we're running out of dates.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then. I'll see y'all then.
For the department, Ms. Zavala is with us representing the children. Mr. Nowak is with us representing the father, Mr. Havens, who is incarcerated. And Mr. Barfield's with us representing Mrs. Havens. Is she with us?
I don't see her, Judge.
Okay. I don't have anybody in the waiting room. My understanding is this is, I guess, by agreement to be just called and start and stop and reset. Is that correct, Ms. Powell?
Yes, Your Honor, and I believe that the father is present on the telephone from the.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought that was.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All right, then Mr. Havens apparently is with us by phone. Mr. Havens, is that you on the phone line?
That is me, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all the parties. All right, Ms. Powell, I don't know how Judge Baker does it. I sometimes take a little bit of testimony on how the child or children are doing, or however Judge Baker does it. You can put on whatever, if anything, you need to.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Petitioner would call Amy Bailey.
Okay.
How are you familiar with the child?
I was the investigator assigned to the case.
Okay. And when was the child removed?
January 29th, 2025.
Okay. And who is the mother of the child?
Catherine Havens.
And who is the father of the child?
Stephen Tyler Havens.
Okay. Judge, I believe that's probably sufficient.
All right, Mr. Barfield, anything you need to take up today?
Absolutely not, Judge.
All right, Mr. Nowak.
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Zavala, anything we need to talk about the child today?
No, Your Honor, the child's doing very well.
Okay. All right, then I will go ahead and recess the case today. My understanding is the case will reconvene on March 3rd, 2026. So unless there's anything else, then I guess we will stand in recess on this case. I will be back at 10:30 to call.
We are here today for our final in this case. We are actually resuming this final from January 29th of 2026. The case was called at that time. Some brief testimony was taken and it was recessed to reconvene to today's date. Since we are here on a new day, I'm going to go ahead and take announcements again. But we are conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming and Ms. Galvan is making our record. All right, if y'all want to announce, we'll get that out of the way.
Melinda Powell for the department, Melinda Powell for the department, we are present, ready to proceed with the continuation of the final.
Brooks Barfield, present, ready, represent Catherine Havens, mom in the case. I do not see her. She has been duly notified of the reset. Ready to proceed.
Big Snowak on behalf of Stephen Havens. He won't be joining us today, Judge, but I did meet with him last week in Plainview to get the relinquishment signed and notarized and witnessed. Thank you.
And that has been filed with the court, Judge.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Avery.
Okay, thank y'all very much. Mr. Nowak, thank you for making the trip to accomplish that. Appreciate it.
I hadn't had an all subs burrito in ages. It was worth the trip, Judge.
Well, they are world famous.
They're good. It's good stuff.
Okay, be sure and submit me your mileage and everything on that time.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Not your burrito. I'm sorry. County won't pay for that, but
I forgot my wallet, so Jace actually paid for it. Sure, but he writes his own paychecks every Friday, so I'm sure he put that in there.
yeah, well, but he needs an expense account.
There you go.
Okay, then I believe Ms. Bailey was on the stand. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Bailey, consider yourself still under oath because I am. All right, Ms. Powell, you may proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
And how are you familiar with that case?
I was the investigator assigned to the case.
Okay. And was this case initially assigned as an alternative response case?
Yes, it was.
And what does that mean?
That is where we call the parents and schedule a time to meet with them and the children in the home, as well as any of their support system, to sit down and address, talk about what is going on in the home and see if there's some way that we can help, provide resources and that kind of thing.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that it's really a first step in trying to prevent a removal?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you initially address this case in that idea of you're going to go in, try to give help and not remove?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and when did you receive the case?
December 31st, 2024.
Okay, and at that time, who did you make contact with?
I attempted to make contact with Catherine Havens.
Okay, and who is Catherine Havens?
She is Avery's mother.
Okay, and were you able to initially make contact with Miss Havens?
No, I was not.
Okay, and what date was that you tried to make contact?
That was on December 31st, 2024.
Okay, and did you then try to make further attempts to contact Miss Havens?
Yes, I did.
Did you try to contact her on January 2nd?
Yes.
Were you able to do that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you make contact with family members on January 2nd?
I did.
Who did you make contact with?
With Avery's grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Havens.
Okay, and did you also make contact with Avery on that date?
Yes, I did.
And who was Avery with on that date?
She was with her paternal grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Havens.
Okay, and following the contact with Avery, how long had Avery been with the grandparents?
She had been there, I believe, 3 days prior to that.
Okay, and did you continue trying to reach out to Catherine Havens?
Yes, I did.
And when did you finally make contact with Catherine Havens?
On January 3rd at Randall County Jail.
Okay. And do you know why she was at Randall County Jail?
I do not.
Okay. During while you were working the case, did you look up Miss Haven's criminal history?
Yes, I did.
Were there other arrests other than her being at Randall County?
Yes, ma'am.
And were there arrests out of Potter County?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'd ask to enter exhibits 2 and 3 into evidence at this time. They are certified court documents out of Potter County.
Just for the record, do you mind stating what type of certified documents, Melinda?
Oh, they're certified court records. There's a indictment for burglary of a habitation, which occurred on January 1st, 2025, and there's an order of deferred adjudication.
Okay, no objection.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioners exhibits 2 and 3 will be admitted.
Now, Miss Bailey, did you discuss the allegations with Miss Havens?
Yes, I did.
On the date you finally met with her?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did Miss Havens tell you in regards to the allegations?
She stated that she had a very high water bill due to a leak that the landlord was not repairing. And so she was unable to pay that bill. She talked about her husband being incarcerated due to drug use, and that if he was not able to get clean and sober, she had planned to leave him.
Did she discuss anything in regards to drug allegations?
She denied drug use, said that she went to the methadone clinic every day except for Sunday to receive treatment.
Okay. Now, do you know when she got out of the Randall County Detention Center?
I believe, I don't know the exact date, but it was within a few days.
Okay. And did you request that Miss Havens drug screen upon being released from the detention center?
Yes, I did.
Did she drug screen for you?
Not initially. Not
Okay.
when requested.
Okay.
Sorry, it cut out and I missed the last of her sentence.
Not initially.
Now, did you also request to have home visits with Miss Havens upon her being released?
Yes.
And did she allow you to have a home visit?
Not initially. She wouldn't allow me into the home.
Okay. And I want to cover some specific dates. On January 7th, did you request the drug screen?
Yes.
Did she drug screen?
No.
And did she provide an explanation why she was not going to drug screen?
That day, I don't recall the exact reason on that day.
Okay. Did you offer to provide transportation?
Yes.
Okay. When was the next time that you asked Miss Havens to provide a drug screen?
On January 8th.
And did she provide a drug screen on January 8th?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And when was the next time that you asked her to drug screen?
January 13th.
Did she provide a drug screen on January 13th?
She submitted to a urinalysis, but not a hair strand.
Okay. And why were you asking for both a urinalysis and a hair strand?
Because the hair strand goes back further than a urinalysis.
Okay. And did you receive results for those drug screens?
I did, for the UA.
Okay. Were you concerned by those results?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have any discussions with Miss Havens in regards to those results?
Yes, I did.
What did she tell you?
She denied using. I requested to set up a family team meeting to discuss the concerns with having Avery in her home, and she would not agree to having a family team meeting.
Okay. At what point did the department determine that that this child needed to be removed from the care of Miss Havens?
After she kept postponing the family team meeting, I believe it was around January 24th, 2025 that we requested to remove Avery.
And was that also after you got back the drug screen results?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, would it be fair to say that you initially went into this case trying to find an alternative to removal?
Yes, ma'am.
And would it be fair to say that at some point in time, it became evident that you were not going to be able to prevent the removal?
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, did you seek removal from the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Barfield.
Ma'am, when is the last time you had contact with Miss Havens?
It was January 30th.
And what was the context of that contact?
I met with her at Potter County Jail for her to fill out removal paperwork.
Okay.
Let me clarify what year, January 30th.
What year?
Sorry, 2025.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Judge. And what happened in that meeting?
She filled out paperwork and specified where she would like Avery to be placed at that time.
And where was that?
With Mr. and Mrs. Havens, her in-laws.
Okay, and did that occur?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, since that time, you have had no further contact with my client. Is that correct?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay. And you don't know where my client is today, or she hasn't contacted you for the purposes of this hearing?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Nowak.
No questions. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, and Ms. Zavala?
No questions.
Okay.
Judge, just briefly, I do have a follow-up.
All right, go ahead.
Miss Bailey, just for the record, the termination in this case was filed on January 29th of 2025. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, pass witness.
Okay, anybody else have any further questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, then anybody have any objection to Miss Bailey being released?
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, Miss Bailey, thank you so much for appearing again. We really appreciate you. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. All right, Ms. Powell, you can call your next witness.
A petitioner calls Tucker Ivy, and how are you familiar with that case?
I'm the caseworker for Avery.
Okay, and we'll take care of the easy part here first. Is Avery's father Stephen Havens?
Yes.
Okay, and did Mr. Havens execute an affidavit of voluntary relinquishment?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had the opportunity to review that relinquishment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, was it signed by Mr. Havens?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it notarized?
Yes, ma'am.
And were there two witnesses?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you sign as consent for the department to be named to be designated the managing conservator of the child?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was that filed with the court on February 27th of 2026?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd ask the court to take judicial notice of father's affidavit of voluntary relinquishment.
Any objection, counsel?
No objection.
No, Judge.
All right, I will take judicial notice of Mr. Havens' voluntary affidavit of relinquishment of parental rights that has been fully executed, witnessed and notarized, consented to by the department, and filed with court.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Ivy, are you asking the court today to terminate the parental rights of Stephen Havens as to the child based upon the affidavit of voluntary relinquishment?
Yes, ma'am.
Is St. Francis waiving the other grounds that are pled in regards to the father?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you believe that termination of parental rights is in the best interest of this child?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, in regards to the mother, Catherine Havens, are you familiar with the mother, Catherine Havens?
Yes, ma'am.
And once St. Francis receives a case, what is the steps that you take in regards to working a case?
We meet with the parents, we give them a family plan, and then help them through their services in order to rehabilitate or learn from their mistakes
And
until we feel safe enough to put the kids back with them.
thank you. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Sorry.
And was a service plan developed for Catherine Havens in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And have you had the opportunity to review the exhibits I sent out last week?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you able to review Exhibit 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you recognize that document?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it a fair and accurate copy of the document?
Yes, ma'am.
And had it appeared to be altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
I'd ask to enter Exhibit 1 into evidence at this time.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 1 will be admitted.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Ivy, what is Exhibit 1 there?
It's the family plan of service.
Okay, and you've already testified as to why they're developed, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And in review of that document, does it appear that Ms. Havens did sign and acknowledge receipt of this document?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you ever able to discuss the document with Ms. Havens?
Yes, ma'am. When I saw her in jail, I was able to actually give her another copy with my number on it.
Okay, and did she express an understanding as to what she needed to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, did Ms. Havens work any of her services in the service plan?
No, ma'am.
And now you said she was in jail. Do you know if she is currently in jail?
No, ma'am.
And do you know approximately how much time she spent in jail during the course of the case?
I believe, no, ma'am, not exactly. I believe she was in there for roughly 6 months.
Okay. But in the 6 months she was not incarcerated, did she attempt to engage in any services?
No, ma'am.
When you met with her at the detention center, why was she there? Do you know?
I believe it was a probation violation.
Okay. And were you able to review her criminal history when you took the case?
Yes, ma'am. But,
And go ahead, I'm sorry.
sorry, it was a while ago. I did talk to her probation officer recently.
Okay. At some point in time, was Ms. Havens arrested for possession of a controlled substance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'd ask to enter exhibits 4, 5, and 6 at this time, which are certified copies of court documents. Brooks, exhibit 6 is, I'm going to go backwards here. Exhibit 6 is an indictment for possession of a controlled substance, namely fentanyl, that occurred on or about the 28th day of February 2025. Exhibit 5 is an order of deferred adjudication. And then exhibit 4 is a motion to proceed with adjudication.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioners 4, 5, and 6 will be admitted.
And Mr. Ivy, based upon the date in the exhibit, was Avery in care at the time mother was arrested for the possession charge?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you ever able to discuss that arrest with Ms. Havens?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did she tell you in regards to that arrest?
She said that she was going to go to rehab and that she wanted to do everything she could in order to get Avery back.
Okay, So, at some point in time, did Miss Havens admit to you that she had a drug problem?
Yes, ma'am, while she was incarcerated.
Okay, and, after she was released from incarceration, did Miss Havens ever go to rehab?
No, ma'am.
When was the last time you had contact with Miss Havens?
She texted me on January 9th.
And what was the, content of that text?
She said she went to Synacor. I said, can you send me proof and can we meet next week? And she said yes to both. And then I called her probation officer, and her probation officer said that she hadn't gone to Synacor. And so I texted her, have you spoke with your probation officer? And then I've called and texted since, and I haven't got a reply.
Okay. At this time, would you have concerns with Avery being returned to the care of Miss Havens?
Yes, ma'am.
Why would you have concerns?
She hasn't shown any kind of stability or completed any services.
Okay. Do you know where Miss Havens is currently residing?
No, ma'am.
Have you attempted to determine where she's residing?
Yes, ma'am.
And what have you done to attempt to determine where she lives?
We've done diligent searches, and I went to random addresses where she could possibly be. I've contacted her mother and her sister. They don't know where she's at either. And I've called and texted her on the cell phone she's contacted me through.
And did she ever provide any information as to where she was living?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, where is Avery currently placed?
With her grandparents, Stephen and Renee.
And is that maternal or paternal grandparents?
Paternal.
Do you have the opportunity to see Avery in the home?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is Avery doing in the home with the grandparents?
Amazing. She loves them and they love her.
Okay. Are they able to meet all of Avery's needs?
Yes, ma'am.
And are the grandparents interested in adoption should the court terminate parental rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is that how St. Francis would plan on proceeding if termination is granted?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is Miss Havens able to meet the needs of Avery at this time?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and is that based upon the information that you've already testified to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you asking the court today to terminate the parental rights of Catherine Havens as to the child?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you asking that the department be named the permanent managing conservator of this child?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you believe those requests are in the best interest of the child?
Yes, ma'am.
I pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Powell, and the department is proceeding on precisely which grounds?
Your Honor, we would ask to proceed on D, E, and I'm gonna have to look at the petition as I am not. Well,
The new N?
Probably yes, sorry, Judge, I have.
No, it's okay. Just from the testimony, I'm guessing the new N ground. Not that it's new, it's just renumbered.
The new N and the failure to complete drug treatment with whatever that number is nowadays.
Okay.
That's
the O.
That is the new O, yes.
And is the department waiving all other grounds at this time? Other than those four?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right,
Sorry,
you still
I pulled
pass.
out my family code. I apologize.
It's okay. I know everybody's having to get used to the new numbering. Do you still pass the witness, or does that raise any other questions?
Let me ask let me reopen, just ask a few questions.
All right, go ahead.
Mr. Avery, has Miss Havens had any contact with Avery since the child was removed?
I believe they had contact early in the case, but not since I've been a part of it.
Okay, and how long have you been a part of the case?
Since June.
Okay, and had you attempted to set up any type of visitation since June?
No, ma'am, I haven't had the chance. She was incarcerated when I started the case, and then she Was out of contact as soon as she got out of our incarceration, and I haven't been able to contact her.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that this child has not had any significant contact with the mother?
No, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I pass witness.
Okay, Mr. Barfield.
Just for clarification of the record, you have had no contact with Miss Havens since June of 2025?
No, she texted me on January 15th, but then later or the next day I texted her back and I've called her and she hasn't answered and the phone number's not working.
Okay. And the last contact she had with the child was June of 2025. Is that correct?
I believe it was before then,
Okay.
before incarceration.
Okay. And do you recall when she was released from incarceration?
The exact date, no, but I want to say it was September.
Okay. And I'm not looking for an exact date. So she would have been out of jail or to be able to exercise her ability to contact you and or try to schedule a visit with Avery.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she do so?
No, sir.
And you previously testified, I don't want to rehash your testimony, but you previously testified you made efforts as late as January 2026 to try to get her back into the fold. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
And your efforts went without any response?
Yes, sir.
And she hasn't contacted you via letter, email, giving you no new phone numbers or anything of that nature?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you feel that she has basically constructively abandoned contacting Avery?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anything at this juncture that you could do as the caseworker to help her mitigate the circumstances necessitating removal?
No, sir.
Okay. And I assume you believe it's in the best interest of Avery that she be allowed to be adopted by her grandparents.
Yes, sir.
Is that because you believe that Avery needs stability?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And do you think you've exhausted prior to this hearing every means to make contact with Miss Havens at your disposal?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'll pass the witness.
Okay, Mr. Nowak.
Briefly, thank you, Judge. Hey, Tucker, Avery and Stephen, who's fixing to be terminated, have regular phone visits, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I think sometimes they might even Zoom or Skype, however they figure it out from the Form B unit. And would you agree with me that Avery has become accustomed to those visits and looks forward to those visits?
Yes, sir.
And those are supervised by Stephen's parents, correct?
Yes, sir.
In your opinion, would it be helpful to continue those visits going forward with the understanding that, number one, he's going to be terminated. Number two, it looks like he's getting out in November of this year. Would those visits help the child going forward?
Yes, sir.
And they'd be in the child's best interest, correct?
Yes, sir.
Tucker, thank you so much. Judge, I'll pass the witness.
Okay, and Mr. Novak, your client is, I assume, is acutely aware that there's not a post-termination type arrangement, that it's solely at the discretion. If I terminate, it would be solely at the discretion of the managing conservator of the child.
We had a long discussion about termination versus possessory, and he completely understands it, Judge. And I've also talked to Steve and Renee, the grandparents. I have complete faith in them that they'll make sure that nothing happens that is not in Avery's best interest.
All right, sir. Okay. All right, Ms. Zavala, any questions?
Your Honor, other counsel has now covered everything that I was going to ask about, so no questions.
Okay. All right, then. Any further questions for Mr. Ivy by anybody?
No further questions, Your Honor, and I have no additional witnesses. I would rest.
Okay, Ms. Powell, just to clarify, are you also waiving any other grounds that have been pled against Mr. Havens other than the K grounds?
Yes, Your Honor, I did ask that.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I missed it. Okay.
Aye.
All right, Mr. Barfield.
I have no witnesses. I rest.
Mr. Nowak.
Rest, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Zavala, you have a recommendation, or, well, do you have any witnesses to call first? Sorry.
No witnesses. I rest.
All right, you have recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor. I've been able to meet with Avery throughout this case, both at her grandparents' home and at school. She's doing amazingly well. And I do believe it's in her best interest that her father's rights be terminated based solely on the relinquishment submitted today, and that mother's rights be terminated in accordance with the evidence that was presented today. I believe she's in a very safe, loving, protective home, and I look forward to the time when she can be adopted.
All right, I appreciate it very much, and thank you to all counsel for your representation of the parents in this case. Okay, then I do find by clear and convincing evidence that termination of the mother, Catherine Haven's, rights to the child in the best interest of the child pursuant to Texas Family Code 161001B2 and under Texas Family Code 161001 subsection B1, the D, E, N, and O grounds. Find that the department has waived all of the grounds that were pled in the petition. All right. I find by clear and convincing evidence that termination of Stephen Haven's rights is in the best interest of the child pursuant to Texas Family Code 161001 subsection B2 and pursuant to his voluntary affidavit of relinquishment of parental rights under Texas Family Code 161001 subsection B1K. Also that the department has waived all other grounds that were pled in the petition. I do find that the department has used reasonable efforts to reunify the child and the parents. And in spite of that reasonable effort, that's not been possible. I will name the department as permanent managing conservator of the child, and I'll continue the child's current placement with paternal grandparents. At this time, I'll dismiss all court-appointed attorneys after the de novo and appellate time frame expires, with the exception of Ms. Zavala, who will remain as the child's attorney and guardian ad litem. Counsel, I will admonish you as always, please do not file a notice of appeal prior to a final order being signed and adopted by the referring court in this case. All right, thank you all very much again. Sorry about our being behind today, but you are all free to go unless you're involved in anything else that's on our docket today.
Judge, I'm at 2 o'clock, but I'll go ahead and chime back in at 2 o'clock.
All right, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Brooks, if you're still in trial, good luck, man.
Yeah, we start back up in the morning.
Yeah, good luck, my friend.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Bye.
Sure.
He looks better than I do when I have COVID. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I don't think I would appeared on camera.
No, I'm just letting you know I ain't showing up.
We're here for
Certainly,
an
we just
individual
want
permanency hearing.
Yeah.
We are conducting this through Zoom under finding a good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming and Ms. Galvan's making our record. Okay, we'll take announcements.
Daniel trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Stacy Brown will be testifying for him, and Daesh. We are present, ready, Your Honor.
Brooks Barfield, president and ready, and Tessa Helms is present, ready as well.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Asher.
All right, then, Ms. Brown, since you're filling in or covering today, if you will give us an update, I appreciate it.
Yes, Asher is doing well in his placement. He's developmentally on target for his age. He's eating, sleeping well. He is currently teething. He has weekly visits with his mother, Tessa, that are going well. Tessa completed her psychological evaluation on, it says July 27th, but I believe that was earlier this month that she completed that. Oh, it's not even July 27th. maybe it was June 27th. It basically, the recommendations on that is for her to address mental health issues. And so we would ask that she would go back to TPC and address those issues. She had stopped going back in, I think the last time she went was in March, if I remember correctly. And then she just missed a couple appointments. And so they discharged her. So we would ask that she would go back to that. She's working towards her parenting with Padre. And I believe her last counseling session is this week. She also currently continues to live in a home with people that have CPS history, which is concerning for us. We've discussed this with her. I don't think she has any plans of leaving this home.
Ms. Brown, since Dad signed a relinquishment on this case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that has been filed, so no contact, has any contact been made with him since then?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Outside of the recommendations from the psychological and the concerns that y'all have discussed as far as living situations, any other issues in this case at this time?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Mom is still cooperating and working on services, correct?
Yes, other than TPC, she is.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Is there any barrier to her going back to TPC since they discharged her?
No, I think she would just have to start the initial process over since they discharged her, but she can still continue to go.
Okay. All right. Okay, then, Mr. Burgess.
You asked the question that I was going to ask of this witness, Your Honor.
All right, anything else to add?
Not at this time, Judge.
Okay. All right, then, Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, I have no questions, and Asher is doing very well in placement, and I recommend that that continue.
Okay, Ms. Helms, since it was a recommendation of that evaluation, that psychological was it a psychological evaluation, Ms. Brown, or was it a psychiatric eval?
It was a psychological through Stonebridge.
That's what I thought you said. I wanted to be sure. All right. Since that was a recommendation, I am going to order you to go back to TPC and take up where you left off with them. Now, I don't know what that means, as far as initiating the process again, but, I think that's been a big issue in the case. And so, I really want you to stay on top of that and address those issues.
My TPC was to seek a counselor, and I've spoken with the counselor that I've been seeing on continuing with her. And I see her every Friday. I will continue to see her every Friday, even after the 6 weeks of counseling with her.
All right, that's somebody different than who you were seeing at TPC, correct?
I was not seeing a counselor at TPC at all for the entire time I was in their program.
Okay, were you there? I mean, because they were the ones that were helping you manage medication?
No, I was not prescribed any type of medications, nothing.
What were you doing with TPC?
I was supposed to be doing counseling, and they never got me a counselor. The entire time I was in their program, I told them that that's what I would like to try to do was counseling. And if my counselor would have seen fit for me to start medications for any of my depression or any other symptoms that I would were to explain to them, and they saw fit for me to be a medication, then at that point I would start seeing a psychologist more than likely. And that's what I was told by the person that I had my initial with. And So I was supposed to start seeing a counselor and I never did. That's why I dropped out of their program and chose to start seeing a counselor outside of them.
Okay, the counselor you're seeing now, is that one that's contracted through the department?
I would assume so because I was I had their I was referred to them.
Okay. Who are you seeing?
It is Melissa Lawson.
Okay, all right. So Ms. Brown, I'll confirm it. That is, she's seeing a counselor that is contracted through us, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any information that she was going to TPC for any other reason?
We just asked her to have a TPC evaluation, and then after that, they scheduled 3 more sessions, which she was a no-call, no-show for. So my guess is they wouldn't be able to assign her a counselor if she's not showing up to those appointments.
Your Honor, my recommendation would be that Tessa continue to be allowed to see Miss Lawson since she's already established a relationship. I don't know that there's any other diagnoses of any other serious mental illnesses for which TPC would be necessary in this case.
Your Honor, my recommendation would be that Ms. Helms, and I understand she's going to a counselor, and I don't think we have a problem with that. But since she only made a couple of appointments with TPC and then quit going, would be to be reevaluated by TPC to let them know that she's seeing another counselor, and if there's any other things that they want her to do, she needs to follow through with those. But to continue the appointments until TPC discharges her, not till she decides she doesn't want to go.
And Your Honor, it sounded like from Ms. Helms' testimony that they were going to evaluate her and potentially refer her to a psychiatrist for medication if needed. And it doesn't sound like that was actually evaluated to determine.
Okay, all right. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the big reasons why we got involved with Ms. Helms, not only on this child, but obviously on the other child, was somewhat, you know, for lack of a better phrase, maybe kind of a mental breakdown. I mean, it was, I mean, we have serious concerns about her mental health at the time of removal of the other child. And, you know, I think that's remained a concern about whether or not mom is addressing or taking care of those issues. Is that a gross misstatement of why we're involved in this in her life?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
I guess, Judge, if we could, if Tessa would agree to just go back, start the process over so that it can be determined in this particular case, so we don't have a like outcome that we're dealing with in the other matter. I could recommend to my client just go re-sign up, see if she needs anything, and then if not, then have her continue with Miss Lawson. I don't know that way the court has the answers the court needs.
I'm perfectly fine with her continuing with Ms. Lawson as a counselor. And I'm not trying to make her see 2 different counselors or make 2 different appointments. My overriding concern is, Ms. Helms, that you get the evaluation and follow through with them long enough for them to determine whether they think you might benefit from talking to a psychiatrist and whether you might benefit from medication. Maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, but you know, I do have concerns about why we got to where we are. And if there's something out there that maybe can help you and would prevent anything like this from ever happening again, I think it'd be great. Your probation, I don't know if that may be a term of your probation as well. I don't know. I don't have any of that in front of me, and I don't recall off the top of my head.
Well, so whenever I had spoken with them, they said that if I did not want to be put on medications, that they would refer me to a counselor, and that's what they had done. And that they told me that once I started seeing the counselor, and if the counselor had saw fit for me to start seeing a psychiatrist, then I would start seeing that. And since I hadn't started seeing any counselor whatsoever since I started their program, I decided that I was going to go start seeing another counselor. And I had discussed that with her as well, that I would prefer not to be put on medication and whatnot, because I would like to try to handle these, like everything myself in like whatever manner I can possibly do so. And if it comes to a point where I cannot manage it myself, along with the counseling, then I would request through her to be referred to a psychiatrist and be evaluated by them as well.
Are we getting any progress notes from Ms. Lawson? That's a question for Ms. Brown.
Sorry. I believe that she's processing through the events that led to the removal of her daughter with Miss Lawson, and that's going well.
And Your Honor, I've spoken with Miss Lawson. The counseling's going really well with Miss Lawson. So I mean, maybe Miss Lawson, for based on the conversations I've had with, and I'm not trying to, I've had with Miss Lawson, the counseling is going, and even before the last hearing, the counseling was going great. So, I mean, I understand the court's concern. I really do, obviously. But I think Tessa is making significant progress with Miss Lawson, and I certainly wouldn't say that if I didn't, and I'm basing this off conversations I had with Miss Lawson's prior to the previous hearing. So and if Miss Lawson feels that she needs to see a psychiatrist since she's been counseling her, I think we could accomplish the same thing with Miss Lawson that we're asking TPC to do. So I think we're duplicating things potentially, and I know that's not what the court intends or wants to do.
Well, I'll try to make this as short as I can. Here's Ms. Helms, here's my concern. At some point in time, we will be out of your life. There won't be any Ms. Lawson being provided to you. You know, you'll be on your own, so to speak. Okay. Mental health is a long-term commitment. I mean, it's just like having a drinking problem. You know, if you don't take care of it and you don't address it and you don't live with it every day, or do what you've got to do to manage it, then trouble is ahead. The same thing is true of mental health. And for most people, you know, that doesn't just suddenly go away. Those issues don't. They're there. They can surface in different capacities, but this is more about long term. Do you have the tools that you need to make sure you don't ever find yourself in this position again? So, you know, it's kind of like now's the time to really evaluate what are your needs and, you know, what really does work for you. I understand your medication, what I would call your kind of medication resistant, and there's, you know, nothing wrong with that unless you just aren't able to manage things without it. And
Absolutely.
some folks just can't manage they can't manage to get through a 24-hour period of time that's productive time without some medication. Okay. Whether you're one of those or not, I don't know the answer to that. What we're trying to do is give you the opportunity to find out the answer to that. All right, we've got some time in the case. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kick this back to Ms. Lawson. I'm going to order in lieu of her going back to TPC. I'm going to order that she continue with Ms. Lawson during the pendency of this case. That's going to continue. It's just indefinite. Unless Ms. Lawson comes to us and says, she's discharged. I feel like there's nothing else that I can do for her. I don't have any other recommendations. She's on top of it. Okay? Obviously, I'm not going to make her go any further if Ms. Lawson feels like she's on top of what she needs to be on top of, you know? But otherwise, that's just going to continue indefinitely through the pendency of the case. So that needs to be reflected as far as a required service at this time. I'm not going to require her to go back to TPC, but to continue indefinitely with Ms. Lawson. I do want Ms. Lawson to know that this is an area that I want her to have in her mind about whether or not that's going to be a recommendation or not. I just want her to be aware of kind of what our expectations are. Okay, Mr. Trout, I'm sorry. What?
No, you're good, Judge, and I understand your ruling on this. I just want to voice from our stance, you know, the only information we've ever gotten that TPC only wanted mom to see a counselor was from mom. She just quit going to her sessions after 2 or 3 sessions. We don't know if TPC actually had other recommendations because she just quit going.
I hear you.
So, you know, that's our major concern. You know, it is in her probation that she follow the TPC treatment. It is been ordered through a psychological. It has been ordered, you know, through the court before. So that is our concern. There's a couple of different orders for her to go to TPC. You know, and I understand your ruling. I just wanted on the record, you know, our stance is just to go to TPC till they discharge her because they don't need to see her anymore, not because she quit.
Yeah. So Ms. Helms, all I can tell you about that is if your probation requires you to go to TPC, there's nothing I can do about that. I have no control over that. Make no mistake. What I'm permitting you to do has nothing to do with satisfying your requirements for probation. So you may be going to TPC one way or the other.
And Judge, that's kind of what I was referring to when I said duplication. It's my you know, if probation, and that's what I was going to, you know, ask my client, that if she understands that if probation requires her to go to TPC, that if she doesn't do it, it would be a violation of probation, which causes a much, much, much bigger problem than what we're even talking about here. So that's why I was thinking through probation, if she's required to go, she's got to go through there anyway.
So let's rewind. Knowing that now, I mean, what do you want to do? I mean, you know, I mean, I'm trying to give you a different avenue, but I can't make that happen through probation. So if you got to go to TPC anyway, you might as well just go, and you got to show up, and you got to give them their opportunity to make their recommendations. I mean, you know, if I make my separate order and then they're still expecting you to get to TPC, then yeah, you're going to get, yeah, it's going to be a double dip on you, but I have no control over that.
I spoke with my probation officer before it had gotten switched, and I let him know what was going on and that I was searching for a new counselor as well. And then whenever I started seeing Lawson is whenever I had gotten switched over to the other this new one. And I informed her that I tried TPC and I never saw a counselor that by their recommendation.
And Judge,
but you know, they may not have reached that point with you if you quit going. But as long as your probation, as long as that order says what it says, if you don't do it, I mean, I don't know. Unless somebody files an amended order with your probation, I darn sure wouldn't be comfortable not going.
Which I'll talk to my current probation officer and talk to her about that. If that needs to be amended, then I will have that amended.
And that's got, I just want to make real clear to Tessa on the record, and it's her. If probation currently states, because the judge is the one that makes the probation order. And if you're, and I'm not a criminal defense lawyer, but if the judge put in the order in your probation that you have to go to TPC, it doesn't matter necessarily what the current probation officer says. It's in the order, and and you need to follow through with that, or they could revoke you, and you can say, well, I've had a conversation with my probation officer and everything. The judge ain't going to care, because the judge said, well, I ordered it and you didn't do it. So the safest thing to do, in my humble opinion, is just go back to TPC because of the probation. The judge is cutting you a break here. And that would answer all our questions. And because I think what we're doing is we're on the hamster wheel, Tessa. And the only thing, and it's really kind of silly at this point that we're on the hamster wheel, and this is because you just need to go back to TPC and answer everybody's questions. And so the judge and even Mr. Trout is going to be saying, "Hi, okay, she's done what she's supposed to do. We're satisfied." And I think that would fix a big problem here. And I'm also concerned about what you just said about conversations with one probation, then another probation officer. I'm afraid that could get you hung up, and nobody here wants that to happen. If I'm going to be bold and speak for other people here. So if you would please just go do that. Would you just go do that for us all?
Yes.
And
So I'm not okay. At this juncture, all right, like I said, we're doing a rewind. Ms. Helms, I agree. I think you need to go to TPC for probation, and then we're going to leave it as it is right now. You're going to go to TPC also for us. If all that comes out of their evaluation, is that you need to continue counseling, I'm fine with you continuing your counseling with Ms. Lawson. Hopefully probation would be okay with that too. But, the question is, does TPC have any recommendation that they think you should see a psychiatrist? Just seeing a psychiatrist doesn't mean that you're going to be prescribed medication.
No, they just said that they'd only send me to a psychiatrist if they saw fit for me to end up needing medications.
Okay.
That's all I was ever told.
So let's just go back. Let's get this evaluation done through TPC. Show up for those appointments, however many those need to be. Let's see what they say. Okay. Now, then you need to be sure to talk to Mr. Barfield about that. You need to talk to your permanency specialist about that. If there is some, hang on, if there is some, hang up or any snafu in all this, and we need to have another hearing to address it, then we will. But you got to go and give it a chance to let them get through their process. Okay. And you need to do that really more for probation than what you probably do for me.
I'll see if they will send an email, because I gave them a sign off to send it to y'all as well already, and I guess they didn't send that to them whenever it had happened, because they do an evaluation before they recommend you to their counselor or anybody on their team. And so I guess I'm just gonna get them to email it to me as well. So if they for some reason don't send it to St. Francis, what their psychological comes out to be, I will get that email as well to just make sure that everybody has it. Because I know that they had done a psychological prior to me getting into what they call a case manager, and that case manager works with the counselor or the psychologist that you're referred to. And so and I'd only seen their case manager the entire time that I was there. And she can't really do much because that's all she's there for, is the case management of what's like my entire thing.
Okay. I want to make clear you understand that probation doesn't necessarily, they don't copy and send everything that they do to your permanency specialist, nor do we send everything to your probation people. You know, there's cooperation between those.
No, TPC was supposed to send that stuff to St. Francis. Sorry if there was any misunderstanding there.
Well, okay. The way we're going to leave this right now is that you'll go to TPC, get that evaluation, go for whatever it is that they're wanting you to do. That'll satisfy you with probation. And then if the only suggestion is continued counseling, at least from my end, there's no problem with me with you continuing to go to Ms. Lawson during the pendency of the case. So, you know, but you got to satisfy probation with whatever you got to do for them.
Yes.
Okay. All right then. I'm going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I'll continue the child's current placement. Find a continuing danger to return the child home at this time. I do find that mom is in compliance with her service plan. And I will see everybody back November 13th of 2025. That'll be a 9 o'clock docket. I just ask that St. Francis stay on top of this situation, and Mr. Barfield, to the extent you can, about probation. I mean, if we're going to have a hiccup with something, I'd rather know about it before November.
Absolutely. And Judge, I appreciate on behalf of the court's understanding and continuing this Lawson. But I think, you know, my main concern here too is that if probation's ordered, it just has to happen. I'm doing motion to revokes all day tomorrow. I mean, I know what happens here. So I appreciate the court's explanation to my client, and I will help Tessa any way I can to get that done. So if there's a problem, Tessa, you know, let me know so I can let Mr. Trout know and the department know and everybody know. So if they need to talk to somebody over at TPC and say, hey, the court's ordered her to do this, you know, y'all need to, you know, help her out so we don't get in this situation that we experienced. So in any event, thank you, Judge.
Okay.
And Judge and Brooks, just for everybody's clarification, I pulled up the probation order. It does specifically say comply with TPC treatment plan on a probation. So that is on there. So thank you, Judge.
Okay. Thank y'all. We're here today scheduled for a review hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom. We are live streaming. Ms. Boyd is making our record for us. Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Heidi Elliott is the permanency specialist. We're present and ready on.
Brooks Barfield for Mom Tessa Helms. We were both present and ready.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the child.
All right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Elliott, if you'll unmute and raise your right hand, you promise to tell the truth today.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, then, if you want to go ahead and tell us anything new since you filed the court report.
Well, Asher is now crawling everywhere and he can sit up unassisted. He's doing really well. He's bonded with placement. Tessa had told me she has called Texas Panhandle Centers to get set up to go back through intake, and she was waiting for a phone call for an appointment. I have reached out to them yesterday and this morning, and I left a message, and I haven't heard back to whether or not she had actually called. So I'm not for sure until I hear back from them. That's really the only updates.
Ms. Elliott, your report states that mom sent you her payment stub for employment back in March. You hadn't received any more. Have you verified
Yes,
mom working?
Yes, she is working. Tessa is going to, she had told me yesterday she's going to scan me her last 4 check stubs. I just haven't received them yet.
Okay. And where is she working?
Sonic.
Okay. All right. And it's the same job she's held since March?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it's been steady employment.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about, I know there's concerns on the living situations. Where is she still living? Same home, same people?
Yes, sir.
They're still concerned with CPS history with the people that mom lives with, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you and mom had any more discussions about that?
Not since the last home visit, sir.
Okay. When was the last home visit?
I can't remember exact date, but it was last month.
Okay. And how did that conversation go as far as the living situation? What are we looking at?
She still doesn't see any issues with it.
Okay. All right. I noticed mom's tested clean throughout this case, but she no-showed the last. Do you know why she no-showed in October?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you tried to send again in November or the end of October?
No, sir. I'm planning on sending her next week.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go ahead and ask for that to be done today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Your Honor, we'd ask for the hair follicle and UAs to be done today. Anything else you need to update the court on or request from the court today?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Excuse me. All right, Ms. Barfield, any questions?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Miss Elliott, how are the visits going?
With Asher, they're going really well.
Okay, good, good. Has mom made all the visits?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
She was scheduled for a visit today, but since court is taking place, she's scheduled for a 4-hour visit Saturday, and I'll be watching that visit.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. I don't have anything else. And unless at this particular time, unless Tessa has any issues at this particular time.
Ms. Helms, any questions?
Sorry, it was asking me a question. As in regards to the CPS history, there are children still in the home, even with the prior CPS history. So I'm not sure why it would be a concern due to the fact that if the house was unsafe for my child, why would it be why is it safe for the children that are here now?
Ms. Elliott?
Yes, let me just phrase that as a question to Miss Elliott, Judge. Miss Elliott, why is that a concern?
Because one of them was a sexual abuse charge or reason to believe, and we just have concerns.
Okay. But again, those concerns have not risen to the level of any type of removal on anyone living in that home. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Elliott, Ms. Elliott, did you have anything to do with that case or work that case at the time?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay,
I have
and
not.
that's some prior history?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're currently working the case with Ms. Helms, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so the concerns are where the department would place the children in a home with that type of history?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I'll pass witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Vaughn?
So that CPS history is sexual abuse of a minor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so the concern is placing a nonverbal child in a home with a non-relative who has those types of findings?
Yes.
Do you have any information about the other children in the home?
No, ma'am.
Other than that CPS history, do other residents in the home have concerning CPS history?
Yes, ma'am.
What is that history?
It is physical abuse and neglect.
Okay. How many other adults are in the home?
There are 3.
And does every adult in the home have CPS findings?
Just 2 of them.
2 out of the 3 or 4?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Is it 3 with Miss Helms or 4 with Miss Helms?
3 with Miss Helms.
Got it. Okay. No further questions.
All right. Anybody have any further questions for Ms. Elliott?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Zavala, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. The child's doing very well at this time, and I do recommend that current placement continue.
All right, thank you. Ms. Elliott, if you said, I may have missed it, but do you consider that Ms. Helms is in compliance with her service plan?
Except for the Texas Panhandle Centers, we're still lacking that, but everything else is complete.
All right. And then the concerns about where she lives.
Yes, sir. No, yes, ma'am.
All right, then I will order Ms. Helms to go do her hair and a UA today before 4 p.m. Can you get there today, Ms. Helms?
Yes.
Okay. Find that there would be a continuing danger to return the child home to the mother at this time or to the father. I find mom is in partial compliance. Find that father is not in compliance. I'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator and continue the child's current placement. We are scheduled for our final in this case on January 27th of 2026. That will be on a 9 o'clock docket. So, Ms. Helms, it's really imperative you get this TPC thing handled as quickly as possible. And I feel strongly you need to look at alternative housing. I think this is going to continue to be a concern and continue to be, a point of discussion. And, you can discuss that with your attorney, but I think it's something you ought to give serious thought to.
Yes, ma'am. On the concerns of sexual abuse, they are only allegations. There was no findings, and the person that they are against is the one who currently has the primary custody of the children that are currently living in the home because of the no findings.
I understand all that, and I understand what Mr. Barfield's questions were in relation to, and I get all of that. I'm just saying I think there's some other concerns there. It's also just a number of people
and an issue of you being able to provide stable housing for the child on your own, So there are other things that relate to a concern about your housing other than all of these people's prior CPS history. So
I wouldn't think it would be a concern of how many people if I can
Judge,
do it.
we'll set a meeting and I'll talk to her about that. I'll talk to Tessa. We're done.
I'm not here to argue with you about it. I'm telling you, I'm trying to give you a heads up that moving into a final hearing in this case, that concerns me. That's going to continue to concern me. And I think it's something you really ought to take a serious look at. So your attorney will talk to you about it. All right, then I'll see y'all January 27th. Have we set mediation in the case?
We have not, Your Honor.
Better get it done.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's mediate before January 15th.
Can I have a breakout room with my client, Your Honor, and then we'll just leave the meeting from there. For the hearing.
And Miss Katie will notify y'all by email who's appointed to mediate for you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, I'll put you up in a breakout room. Ms. Helms, you're going to get a prompt here in just a second. And I'm going to put you into room 2. Mr. Otero Bunker, can you unmute for me?
Judge, I think if memory serves me correctly, at the last hearing, he had a little bit of trouble working the controls as well.
He's showing off mute now.
Yes, sir. Can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. All right. If you want to just stay unmuted, that way you don't have to go back and forth, that's fine.
Thank you.
We're here today for a status hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming. And Ms. Galvan's making our record this morning. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Counsel Gene Graff and Crystal Potts on behalf of St. Francis, present and ready to proceed this morning.
Jeff Hill on behalf of Anthony Otero Bunker. He's present. I'm ready. And Judge, after the hearing is concluded today, or when the status hearing, the business of the status hearing is concluded, I'd like to make an oral motion to withdraw. Maybe we can take that up as well.
Okay, we'll see what kind of time we've got, Mr. Hill.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Isaiah.
Now Garrett with CASA.
All right, thank you. Okay, just before we launch into everything, Mr. Hill, have you had any conversation with your client regarding paternity issues?
No, ma'am, I have not.
Okay. I'm showing him as alleged, Mr. Groff. Is that correct? Or is there something out there that I don't know about?
I'm not aware of there being an outstanding paternity issue, but I will need to research that, Judge.
Judge, we did plead him in as an alleged father because him and the mother were never married.
Okay.
Okay.
So, all right, we'll address that here in just a minute. Okay. All right then. Who's going to give us the update? Ms. Potts?
Yes, ma'am. That would be Ms. Potts.
Okay, Ms. Potts.
Okay, so I've never done one of these before. I'm a little nervous. As far as Anthony goes, I have not had as much contact with him this time. I have tried to contact all of the services that he was supposed to be starting, and I have not heard back from TPC, but I am aware that he is out of compliance with probation. He did have a positive drug test there for meth, cocaine and fentanyl. He has not drug tested for us. He did not show up for that. We also received a new phone number from him, some text messages that were quite interesting. And he did send out a Snapchat link to some of us that was sent on to the attorneys. Isaiah, he has refused visits. Ever since the time that we stopped the visit, after Stacy and I were redirecting Anthony's conversation, Isaiah he just calls and says he doesn't want to do it. He's scared. And so we have allowed that to happen. Stacy Zavala has been aware, Mr. Graff has been aware, and we've all been trying to work together on this. The home study on Brittany was denied. We did not find that to be good placement after some allegations that were made, an investigation that was done. We do have a current ICPC going for his aunt and uncle, which is Jamie and Stephen Otero, and they live in New Mexico. So that is in the works. However, in New Mexico, you have to be a licensed foster home. So they are working out the details of that right now.
All right. Did any of the relatives that the department contacted or any of the other names that father gave, have we heard back anything from any of them?
Stephen and Jamie are one of the names that Anthony gave.
Mm-hmm.
The others all have records that we just can't place there. Other than the sister Esperanza, which she's very young, and she's raising I believe she's 15 plus her own little girls. And so that's a lot to place on her plate. She said if we couldn't find other placement that she was willing, but it was going to be very tough for her.
She's how old?
I believe she's 23.
Oh, okay, 23. I thought you said 15.
She's raising a sister that's 15.
A sister. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Mr. Bunker, I see that you've got a question, and I'll get to you here in just a minute. Okay, anything else to report then from the department?
I don't believe so, Judge. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Hill.
Judge, Mr. Otero Bunker indicates that he's willing to work services. He's was hopeful that the child could be placed with Brittany Denny, although I just noticed prior to the hearing that I received notice that the home study for Brittany Denny was denied. He's not aware of that. I haven't had a chance to tell him that. Like I said, I just saw the notification of service just moments ago. And I haven't had any other conversations with him about potential placements.
Okay. All right, Mr. Otero Bunker, what's your question, sir?
Okay. No, I just wanted to say that I am in compliance with probation. I go see probation next week. I've done one counseling session with intensive outpatient at Synacor. I missed 2 last week because my car broke down, and it's over at the park, and I'm trying to get it back home. And then I had a visit scheduled with my son at the same time, and I didn't get a reply for today that it was supposed to start at 11, and I don't know what's going on. And the visit with Isaiah was only one visit that Miss Potts said that he was scared or not, or he was upset because the previous visit I had with Isaiah at the beginning of the visit. They said, don't mention anything with the case. And all I said was, later on, I said, do you remember when you were scared to come home because of my mom, Abuela? And that's when they shut the whole visit down. They got upset and they're like, no, you can't, Isaiah's too young to talk about this. And I'm just like, no, he's not. This is about how me and my son feel, not about what anyone thinks my son is too young or whatever. And because obviously he can be too afraid, but he's not too young to be afraid in their eyes. But in my eyes, when I ask him why he's afraid, he's too young to talk about that. So I don't understand where the who's drawing the line when it's my son. And also, there was a paternity test done when Isaiah was first taken into foster care back in September 30th of 2016 in Lubbock, Texas. And the paternity test was done by Child Services through Lubbock while I was incarcerated in New Mexico. And that's all I can think of right now, Your Honor. Thank you.
So did you actually did submit to genetic testing while you were incarcerated?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're saying that had to do with Child Protective Services in Lubbock?
Yes, ma'am. That's where Isaiah was located until I was released in July of 2017 and got him later in I think it was May or March of 2018.
Was there any court involvement in that other than CPS? I mean, in other words, was the Attorney General's office ever involved or any court orders entered?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
And then I was looking online about something, when at our last hearing when Miss Denny had said something or whatever, but it was an article online that said that I was her estranged husband. It's just very weird to read that. I don't know who to bring that to. It's like that type of, I know don't believe everything I read, but in this article it did say that, and I was like, what is going on? I mean, I can submit the article if you'd like. I have the website and everything, but it was just kind of weird, like what's going on? Like, anyway, that was just very strange to read.
Okay. So with respect to visits with the child, he at his age, I mean, if they haven't started him with a counselor, they will be starting him with a counselor. And I don't know whether that's Ms. Potts, has that actually started? You need to unmute. You can just press your space button.
Sorry, it took my whole screen down. Yes, ma'am. He is in counseling already.
Okay. So, Mr. Otero Bunker, why the child has certain anxieties or fears about certain things right now, that's more of a topic for discussion between the child and a therapist. I understand you're his dad, and that's we've got to determine that issue as well, but because you're just what's called an alleged father, I will look for this genetic testing that may have been done, but if it didn't resolve in a court adjudicating you as the father of the child, we still need to address that at some point. That's why they've probably deemed that maybe some of your questions or things that you were saying to him were inappropriate. That's an issue for the child to process through with the therapist right now. So
yes, ma'am, I understand.
You can talk
Can I
to
say
him.
something else?
Hang on, you can talk to him about his day and what he's been doing, and then when school starts again, how's school going, and does he have what he needs, things like that, but anything that is relevant to why we're here and why we're at the point we're at with him being in foster, you need to steer clear of that.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that. But may I say something?
Yeah, if you'll make it quick, because I'm running behind. So we got to keep rolling through here.
I don't understand what the situation is with what is being said, how my son is feeling, because he's never been that way towards me like that.
I don't know.
He's never been afraid to tell me anything. He finally told me the truth of the charge that I'm on probation for, what really happened. And it's like, what is going on? Like, is someone coaching my son to say something, or some other people saying something about my son that isn't true? Because he doesn't.
Not to my knowledge, sir, and that's the whole point of why some things are sort of off limits. I mean, we want the professionals to deal with that, and that's what we're trying to allow the child time to do. Kids process things differently than grown-ups do, and they sometimes just have to have a little time and adjustment before they will talk about things or before they will be truthful. And that's all we're trying to do is get to the root of what's on Isaiah's mind and why he feels the way he does about certain things. And that just sometimes takes time.
I understand what you're saying, Your Honor, but he's never expressed that to myself or anybody else that I know, his family or friends or neighbors, that he is feeling that way that Miss Potts is saying right now.
Okay. Well, I can't, all I can tell you is that I have kids in my cases all the time who've never expressed concerns about certain things to their parents. But once they're in care and they get in a therapist's office and they start working with a professional, all of a sudden, a lot of stuff comes out. So, just because he's never said it to you doesn't mean that it isn't something that's on his mind. Children don't want to hurt their parents' feelings. Children don't want to, they don't want to do anything to alienate or hurt people. And so sometimes they bottle things in and they don't tell some of the people maybe they need to be telling. But this is a process, so we're going to give it some time to happen. So
I understand that, Your Honor.
If he isn't sharing it with you right now, I don't know what to tell you. There's a reason probably, but
well, out of the 20 other people that have been around him, teachers, principals, counselors at the school, have never expressed anything towards me in that type of way. If Isaiah has said that to them, which I know is a privilege, client, privilege, like client doctor privilege, but nothing that he's afraid of me.
Okay. Well, let's just let it work itself out. We've just got lots going on and we need to let this work its way through. So, you understand whether or not you're in compliance with probation, I have no control over that. And, it's relevant to me whether you are or you're not, because it could certainly affect what's going to happen to you. But, that's we'll just see how that all works out. So do you have any questions about the services that the department is asking you to do?
No, that I know that I am waiting on TPC to call me back, and I'll call them as soon as we get off the phone again. Let me think. No, not that I can think of, except, the visits there was one scheduled for right now, so I guess we'll have it after this hearing.
Ms. Potts, I suppose we'll work that out with you.
The visit was scheduled for 10 o'clock, and I messaged Anthony and told him that we would reschedule that because of court.
Okay, there's the answer.
Yes, ma'am. Then I got a text from her saying that it's scheduled for 11.
Well,
Court.
we'll look into it and make sure you get your visit.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Zavala, anything to add today?
Yes, Your Honor. I've met with Isaiah in person again, and he's doing very well in placement. I believe he loves his dad very much. I believe he loves his whole family. He had asked me about potentially living with his sister Espy, which I assume is Esperanza. And I know that Ms. Potts just addressed that. And that may not be a good fit. Jamie and Stephen sound like they would be very appropriate. I hope that works out in terms of New Mexico. I know that he got to have a visit with them. So I am hoping that placement could come through. But Isaiah was hoping to potentially live with sister. The way I addressed the visits with Isaiah, and he didn't give me a lot of information. I just said, these visits are going to be scheduled with your dad. And when they come up, you can choose what to do. But they're going to be scheduled. So that's how I left it. I don't know if we need to, make them therapeutic or just keep offering the visits and see what happens. So
My suggestion would be if we have another visit and we have inappropriate discussions or we have to cut it short, we move to therapeutic. If the child refuses the next visit, I think we need to go to therapeutic so that we can start trying to work through whatever the problem is.
that makes sense. And at this point, I do recommend that placement continue, and I hope that we're able to get progress with family.
Okay, and CASA.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did go see him. This kiddo is very smart, very bright. He's very wise for an 8-year-old, I should say. He's doing well. I didn't see any.
I'm sorry, I got a delay on my end, and the last thing I got was Mrs. Zavala saying to get progress with, and that was the last thing I heard.
Okay, let's back up for just a minute. Ms. Garrett, hang on. Ms. Zavala, if you remember.
I believe I was saying, I hope we get progress with potential family placements. And I think that's where I end.
Okay, you good, Ms. Galvan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Janelle, just start over.
I did go visit him in person, and he's very smart. I mean, he's very wise for an 8-year-old. Kind of shocked me as smart as he was, to be honest. He is doing well in the placement. He's enjoying it. He feels safe, and CASA's recommendation is, I mean, I agree with if he continues to refuse visits, therapeutic, or and have the therapist recommend, whenever he should have visits with his dad or how they should go. My recommendation is remain in his placement and St. Francis continue TMC with him.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Hill, if you can briefly, you want to make an oral motion as far as to withdraw?
Yes, Judge, just communication is not good with Mr. Bunker. It's not going to be a productive relationship. I don't want to point fingers to him, to me, to anybody. I'm just not sure we're a good mix. I've spoken to him twice since the last hearing. He refused to speak to me and demanded I withdraw on one occasion. On the second occasion, he seemed to be okay with me being his attorney, and it's not working. And I can foresee as we move forward, it's not going to work.
All right, Mr. Otero Bunker, is that what you want? Do you want Mr. Hill to withdraw and not represent you?
I mean, I'm not going to be opposed to how he feels. So if he wants to withdraw, you told me to not have him withdrawn, and then I
No,
yelled
that's
at
not
him.
what I told you. I told you that he was a very capable and very
Right.
fine attorney,
And you said
and that you should
it would
think
be a
very
good
hard.
idea or something like that.
Hang on, Ms. Galvan cannot take you when you're talking over me. What I told you was that he was a very capable and a very good attorney, and that you should think very, very hard about whether or not you want to replace him. And,
Yes, ma'am.
when you get a court-appointed attorney, you don't get just to go pick out and shop for who you want necessarily. It's whoever comes up next on the list. And you may have a bigger personality conflict with that person. And I will just tell you that if I substitute someone for Mr. Hill this time, that's it. I'm not going to keep giving you different lawyers. It's not productive in your case. So what do you want me to do?
Mr. Hill's my first one, right, Your Honor?
I believe so. Let me double check. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, that Mr. Hill is my first lawyer, and because you said you're not going to keep giving me lawyers, I just
I'm
wanted
not. If you want him to withdraw and I appoint someone else to represent you, that's it. You understand, you're stuck with them for the rest of the case. Because it isn't productive for you to keep changing attorneys. As we move through this case, it makes it harder and harder for them to get up to speed on things. They don't have the benefit of having sat through all these hearings. So I'm just telling you that I'll allow one substitution, but that's it. So you just need to think hard about whether you want me to do that or not.
Yes, Your Honor, I would, please.
All right, I'll tell Ms. Katie to substitute someone else in. We will notify you who that is. All right, then for today, I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator. I will continue the placement of the child with respect to the service plan. Mr. Otero Bunker, until between now and September 1st, I'm going to admonish you that failure to work your service plans is a potential ground for termination of the parental rights. However, we've had a change in the law. And come September 1st, that is a little different. Failure to work your services at that point in time may, be a evidentiary fact that's raised in any final hearing. And it can go to the question of the best interest of the child. And in failure to work the services certainly can be evidence that you have not demonstrated your willingness or your ability to make changes that would have mitigated the reasons for removal of the child. So failure to work your services alone after September 1st will no longer be a ground for termination of parental rights, but understand that those things can certainly be raised as evidence in any final proceeding that may occur in this case. All right.
Judge, can St. Francis request that Mr. Otero Bunker drug test today at Care Express?
Sure. All right, so I will order you to go drug screen. You wanting hair and UA, or what are you wanting, Ms. Potts?
Yes, ma'am, hair and UA, and we will do the UAs as alcohol and substances.
All right.
Judge, he may need a ride. I think he said earlier his car was broken down, so somebody may need to help him with some transportation.
Yeah.
Also, Your Honor.
Hang on. Just a minute. All right, Ms. Potts, can we arrange for transportation for him today?
Yes, ma'am, we will figure that out, and I will get in touch with him.
All right, what is it, Ms. Brunker?
Oh, no, I had to reschedule probation. I was about to set up a doctor's meeting after the court hearing and stuff, so it's probably going to be, I don't know, 3 or 4 days before I'm cleared with my doctor to do any of that.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Oh, I'm sick at home.
With what?
I don't know. I haven't scheduled the doctor visit. I was talked to probation and got on the meeting with you guys.
Okay, well, understand, I don't know what probation has to do with this. I'm wanting you to drug test for us.
Right. Do you need my symptoms? I haven't seen a doctor yet.
All right, Ms. Potts, I'll make it the department's call. I mean, you can ask him sometime randomly within the next, 4 or 5 days.
Judge, the only thing is that he has not screened for us like he was supposed to the last several times. So I would like for it to be today if possible.
All right, then, Mr. Otero Bunker, put a mask on. If you don't have any masks, the department will come prepared with one. Put a mask on. You're going to go drug test for me before 4 o'clock today, and Ms. Potts will let you know about the transportation to the.
Okay, Your Honor, just to save everybody's time, I probably will test positive, so.
That's fine, but we need levels. We just,
Okay.
It's not fun.
That's fine. I just wanted to be honest with you guys instead of.
I appreciate that. But we
Yes, ma'am.
gotta get a baseline so we know whether we're making improvements or we're not making improvements. So,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. All right.
Oh, you didn't ask with what? I was going to say Tylenol 3 with codeine, but.
All right. Well, we're interested in what you have. That requires a prescription. So if you have a prescription for that, you need to provide that to Ms. Potts.
So what if the doctor requests that I stay home?
Well, I don't know that the doctor is going to supersede my order today. So you're going to put a mask on. You're going to go drug screen. You're going to do hair, alcohol, and a UA. Okay, if we have any other visits that are inappropriate, then we'll move to therapeutic visits. If the child refuses another visit, then we'll move to therapeutic visits. If the child continues to refuse to attend those, then we're going to kick it to the child's therapist to recommend when we start visits back up. Like I said, we'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator. We'll continue the child's placement. I'll see you all back November 18th of 2025 on a 9 o'clock docket for the initial permanency hearing.
Oh, Your Honor, one more thing.
Quickly.
What's the situation with his sister, Esperanza?
We don't think that's going to be an appropriate placement.
I believe it is. I know that she can, also take care of him and, in the meantime until.
Did she decline wanting to be placement, Ms. Potts?
She didn't fully decline. She just told me that if that was the last option, but she had been between jobs. She just started a new one. Income's going to be lower. Plus, like I said, she's raising her younger sister and her own children. So that's a lot.
All right. Well, let's just try to clarify with her whether she still wants to be considered or not. If she does, we can do the home study.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Should I have her contact Ms. Potts?
No. Ms. Potts will take care of that. She knows how to contact her.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay. See everybody back in November.